Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. How are you guys doing today? Um, so it's nice to be back with you guys. And I'm sitting here chilling in my home, and I was thinking about something. I took this picture that you can see on the screen. I took this picture a while back, and you see the stupid bitch that you can see in the picture. She's one of them. She's a perpetrator. She's a gang stalker. She has been stalking me and harassing me for quite a while. I see her quite often in the place that I live in, sort of like in the area that I live in. And she has been partaking pretty heavily in my gang stalking. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'll take a picture and I'll show the world. You know, obviously, I didn't take a picture of her face to face. You can't see her face, but, whatever. Maybe you do recognize her somewhere on the streets or whatever. If you are in Germany, if you do see this nasty ass bitch, be sure to trash her ass. You know, tell her to go kill herself, tell her to go suck dick, and tell her flat to her fucking face. I hope you jump off a fucking cliff, and I hope you die, you little bitch. But besides that, I want to take this opportunity to talk about something a little bit more fruitful, something more useful for us targeted individuals, which is that women who have red hair, so women who color their hair red. So I'm not talking about natural redheads, which is just 1% of the world population. I'm talking about women that color their hair red, like in the picture that you can see here. These are actually pretty darn dangerous women, and you should stay away from it. I mean, these these objects, these things, and I don't typically like to degrade humans. I don't typically like to degrade humans. I don't typically like to consider anybody below the level of a human. This is not something I would typically do, but I think some people do deserve it. I think they do. A lot of women I've met throughout my life, I could see there was a character, a soul, something that was worthy of respect and value as a human. But there's women like this fucking thing that don't deserve any respect. And I think that we should be out to get these people, you know. Well, I mean, we should shame these people. We should abuse them. We should, you know, trash talk them. We should treat them poorly and make them feel like shit because they deserve it, because they're horrible people. And these are, of course, the people that have borderline. Um, these are the women that have BPD and who are borderline. Um, so this is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about borderline personality disorder, BPD, and this is specifically to the dudes out there. Like, if you see a woman and she got this specific red hair color, stay the deet away. Stay the fuck away from this bitch. She's gonna bring a lot of problems to your life. And they love to do this shit. And they love to take advantage of men. And they love to abuse men and cause trouble. And they may even enjoy getting men to commit suicide. And the reason for this is because a lot of these borderline women, the women that have this, that typically want to color their hair red. This is usually the telltale sign that they have borderline. But anyway, there are other signs. I'm not going to go into it. But the reason why they hate men so much and are out to get men, the succubus mentality, and just want to harm men and get them to kill themselves or whatever, is oftentimes because BPD or borderline is actually is typically caused by sexual molestation. So these are women who have been molested as children by either their parents or some other type of male figure, and also a lot of them have been um, sex trafficked as well. So they've suffered through a lot of sex trafficking. So as you can imagine, these are very, 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 and I mean this, very wounded animals. Do not deal with these cunts. Okay, no matter what happens, don't get close to these animals because they're wounded and all they see is rage. As soon as you come near them, they're gonna fucking lash out at you. So be very careful with these women. All right? There's a lot of quality women out there that do not color their hair in any color. They just use their natural hair, whether they're blonde or, have black hair or brunette, whatever. And that's usually a good sign. You want a woman who does not color her hair. So you see a bitch coloring her hair with a red color, stay the fuck out of there. Just be like, no way, man. So, like I said, it's usually boils down to two things: either they've been sex trafficked, probably by their parents, or they've been sexually molested at some point. And this is where this problem is coming from. In their worldview, the men are evil devils who are just out to get them. So they preemptively have to attack the men, thinking that the man is like a rapist or something. Okay, which is not the case. Um, Obviously, as the person who I'm pretty adventurous, I'm not like a wimp. I'm very adventurous, and I've been around the block. I've been around many places, all over the fucking world. There is not a single place in this world that I haven't visited. Wow, that's just hyperbole, but it is true that I've been around, and I met a lot of people, a lot of different people. I'm very good at reading the character of people, but I met quite a few people who had BPD, and I mean chicks that had BPD, and a lot of times I noticed something. A lot of them are homosexuals. Yes, a lot of these BPD women, 9 times out of 10, they're lesbians. So they do like to, you know, do the scissor routine. So anyway, what do borderline women do that is so harmful to men? And let's say maybe we could give this advice as well to women that are considering entering into some kind of lesbianish relationship. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Let's just put it that way. Um, what can we tell people who may potentially be dealing with such a person that might dissuade them from engaging with BPD disordered individuals? Well, first of all, the problem with the borderline is very, very emotionally expressive. So you're gonna hear a lot of sob stories about very, very emotional sob stories about some of the horrible things that are happening to them in their world or whatever, and they'll be very, very emotional about it, very emotionally exhibitionistic, and that's actually one of the symptoms of BPD. It's when the individual is extremely emotionally exhibited, so they're always sort of putting their emotions out there a little bit way too much. You know, if you notice that in somebody, stay the fuck away. Um, but they'll oftentimes portray themselves as like some kind of victim, and that's just to reel in those men who have this protective instinct of women and want to protect the women, right, and take care of them. And when they can sense that signal of the guy being, let's say, a nice guy that wants to take care of them, they think in their head, "Haha, I got you, sucker," and they'll take the man and abuse the living fuck out of him. And the problem with BPD is these people are extremely emotionally dysregulated, and they have a very very difficult time regulating their emotions. So they'll always take it out on the people around them, especially the people that they are in a relationship with. So as a man, when you get into a relationship with a woman who is like this stupid bitch right here, and who is BPD disordered, you're just inviting loads of trouble into your life. You know, it's kind of like there's like a raging sandstorm outside of your house, and you're just opening the fucking window. Like, what do you expect going to happen? All that sand is going to come into your house and ruin everything, right? So, guys, close that window and don't let it in. Simple as that. So, what are the tactics that are used by BPD disordered women? These stupid wenches. What do they do to abuse men? Well, it's actually quite simple. They pretty much do what any narcissist would do, because technically BPD is it's a narcissistic disorder. It's a failed narcissist. So it's somebody that is trying to be narcissistic, but they failed because they were not able to get narcissistic supply successfully, right? So what these BPD women will do to men in the relationships is they will first reel you in with love bombing. So they'll love bomb the living shit out of you. It will feel absolutely unreal, like you finally found the one, the soulmate, so to speak. So love bombing and idealization. Oh my God, you're amazing. You're like a blah 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 blah. You're like the best fucking person I've ever met. Blah 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 nonsense, right? And when they reel you in with all this behavior of our idealization, then they say, "Okay, I got you now, sucker." And then they show their true face, and then you're gonna deal with this abuse and devaluation and behavior which is meant to push you away. But the problem for these guys that fall into this trap is, see, because they've already been reeled in such a way that they fell for the love scheme and they kind of get suckered in. They find it really difficult that even when the problems start happening and the devaluation and all the mistreatment is happening, they find it very difficult to pick their shit up and leave. So that's quite problematic, so to speak. But that's pretty much what they do. And it's quite problematic for anybody to deal with a BPD woman. These are absolutely nasty little things. I wouldn't even recommend a dude to just sleep with these hoes. Even just a casual, one night stand. I would not even recommend that because of the trouble that you can get into. Even a one night stand could land you in jail, or worse, it can get you into a lot of trouble. And I bet you, when you have sex with a woman like that, and I mean, like, even if you don't get suckered into a relationship, even if she can't play that woohoo nonsense fucking twin flame boo boo jaja nonsense and reel you in, even then you're not safe, because even if you just have sex with her, I bet you, the first thing she's gonna do is call the police on you and say, "Oh, I was raped, put him in jail." Okay, so that's definitely a par for the course. Let's just put it that way. You wouldn't have done anything wrong. You found a woman that you are physically attracted to and you want to sleep with her. That's fine and dandy. totally consensual, but they don't see it that way because they've been raped or worse, sex trafficked. They're revisiting all these rape memories in their mind. And as such, when you have sex with them, they actually see it. Because remember, women are very emotional creatures. They don't think with their head, they think with their heart, they think with their emotions. So it's not really there's no logic going on. It's just the emotions telling them, well, I feel like I'm being raped right now because I'm remembering the shit that happened to me like when I was 5 years old and I got raped. So, you know what I mean? So she's not sitting there thinking logically, but wait, we did this consensually, so there's no problem. She's not going to think like that. A man is going to think like that. A woman? Nah. She's just going to be like, oh my God, fifis. You know, I feel like I'm being raped right now. This act is reminding me of the whatever happened, 10 or 20 years ago. And if she does, she sure as fucking hell is going to go to the police and report your ass, you know, on false, trumped up charges of rape. And if you are not lucky, you're going to go to jail. So, anyway, this is the problem with the BPD, and these are very, very nasty things, and they hate us, man. They hate men so fucking much. They hate men so much. They only live for one thing. These things, they only live for one thing: destroy men. This is it's like it's, it's kind of like the Terminator machine. You know that movie Terminator, the Terminator machine, except it's not a man. Instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's a woman, right? And she has red hair, and she's her only purpose is to terminate men and destroy men, right? That is literally what BPD is. All right, guys. So you should stay away from these women at all costs because they can bring you a lot of problems. And if you do, intend on having sex with them, that's at your own risk. But I would recommend get proof, get evidence, gather evidence, be smart about it, get some fucking evidence. You know, take a picture, take a picture with the woman, to prove that you were together, especially if you're both smiling, which can prove that things are going well and consensual, and you can show those pictures to the police. Trick her or deceive her in some way to send you some fucking SMS or text or something like that on WhatsApp, confirming indeed that she is a willing participant in some kind of sexual act or that she's consenting to having sex with you or whatever, flirt with her or something like that, and she flirts back with you in the messages, then bingo, you got that as evidence. And if she decides to go haywire on you and call the police, then you pick up your phone and you tell the police, look, we have all these, chat logs between us proving that we did everything consensually, and the pictures and this and that. And they're going to look at that and go, okay, no problem. We're going to take this into consideration. And they will. They will. Actually, a lot of dudes were saved by these types of messages. You would be surprised. You would be surprised. So this is quite a big problem for the BPD women, both for the men, but also for the lesbians that want to date them and all that kind of stuff. I would recommend, learn how to spot these types of things, because they're walking among us. These things are walking among us, and I know it's really it is pretty scary. It really is pretty fucking scary. But that's the reality. These things are walking among us, pretending to be normal, pretending to be human. They ain't fucking human, and they definitely are not normal. And they're gonna make your life into a living hell, okay? And you need to recognize them, okay? And I'll give you the signs. You recognize them, and then you stay away from them, right? You don't need these people in your life. Just don't need them. Some of the other ways, how can you tell that a woman is BPD? because not every woman who is BPD is going to color her hair red. A lot of them might not do that. There might be other signs. Maybe she is slashing. Maybe she got some slashes on her forearm. That would be a very good sign. But then again, not all of them would do that. I think look for emotional instability. This is like the biggest sign, because these BPD things, they cannot really control their emotions at all. They have no handle on their emotions. I mean, women generally not particularly good at controlling emotions, I guess, in comparison to men, but still, like, you can tell when you're talking to a normal woman, they should still be able to control their emotions relatively well, right? And have just a normal, civilized conversation, right? But with these BPD women, it's just the behavior is so out there. It's so erratic. It's so crazy. Not only crazy, but crazy making as well. And you can tell. You can tell that you're dealing with someone who is emotionally dysregulated and emotionally disordered. And unfortunately, the reality is, because countries like the West, like America and Europe, do definitely have a much higher, preponderance of these mental disorders. There's a lot of sick people walking around in the West. This is just a fact. It is actually very likely that you're going to meet such horrendous people at some point in your life. And this is just a fact, Like, I'm not saying this to trash anybody. I'm not saying this to trash the Western culture, but this is a fact. I mean, there's a lot of these people walking around. You know what? You don't believe me? Get out of your house right now. Look around you. Go to the local high street and count how many women have fake red hair. How many women have colored their hair red on purpose? Count them. Count them. Just go out there and count them. And come back to me and tell me that it wasn't less than 10. All right? Okay. So you're very likely to meet such people, and you need to learn to spot the signs, and you need to stay away from them. Look, it is not your problem. If these people have an issue, these people have a problem, and they're trying to make it your fucking problem, okay, no. It doesn't work like that. You have BPD, you have a problem, that's all fine and dandy. Deal with it, okay? But don't come near me. It is not my problem that you have BPD. I am not the one who caused you to have BPD. You can BPD the fuck out of yourself by yourself, but just not here. Okay, guys? So, and of course, women with BPD will oftentimes attempt suicide. They will definitely attempt suicide, and they're very likely not only to attempt suicide, but also to succeed in committing suicide. And yeah, that happens quite a lot, actually. Right. So I told you some of the signs, but the main sign is emotional instability. You see some really weird, erratic behavior, like over the top emotional behavior that doesn't even make sense. Behavior that is just way out of proportion. Like, I understand it, man. I understand it. Women can get emotional, but not to that fucking level. Like, if you're sitting there looking at this woman and thinking, oh God, this bitch is crazy, that's a red flag. That shouldn't be happening. Like, I was once walking down the street and I saw this woman who has BPD, right? Clearly she had BPD. And, and she was just sitting there and shouting at the top of her lungs, like in such a, oh God, it was such a messed up surreal, crazy way. She's just like shouting at the top of her lungs. Like ah, ah. And when you see a woman doing that, oh yeah, BPD all the way, all the way. And they will engage in gang stalking, and yeah, they will cause people a lot of troubles. Anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this content. If you like it, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.